Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final guest, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
And we are here to talk about The Evil Dead Rise. Um, this is how many how many movies are there? There's three Ash
Five?
movies, one,
Five,
okay, five, and then
right?
three seasons of
Of
Ash
Ash,
versus
which
the
I
Evil.
just binged. I just finished
What
binging
did you
it.
think of that one? Just quick.
It was okay. I think my problems with Sam Raimi were all very apparent in that
Mm-hmm.
show. Um, but I think the first season was pretty good. They like brought you back because you watched season one, right? Or no? Did you watch all of it?
I did watch this one. Yes,
I
I don't
do
think I made
like.
it to season two.
Okay, so I like that season one. They go back to the cabin, but then they do that again in season two,
Mm.
and it's
That's
like,
that's that's like Evil Dead fodder though. That's Evil Dead. It's just just what they do. The I have to admit I've never been like a big Evil Dead head,
yeah,
right? Like it was never a big thing for me. I remember watching them on TV. I remember watching Army of Darkness on TV and thinking it was cool, but not like really being obsessed with it because it was a guy and
I really
I
don't like
liked the
Army of
girls.
Darkness. Yeah,
And then like Evil Dead 2's fine. I don't know if I'm necessarily the audience for that kind of comedy. Um,
I think that's like one of the things that we like very much. That's where our tastes align because I think that very much is not like we're not the audience.
I prefer the serious tone of the remake, and I think that's why I like the remake so much. I think all the performances are so great. It's just so stylistically well done that it's hard to beat that one in my mind. And
Yeah,
because I wasn't just like tied to nostalgia with these Evil Dead movies, it was easier for me to like that one more because it's always a shock to me when people don't like that one.
it's such a good movie. Like
Jane
so
fucking Levy,
good,
man, Jane Levy, come on, there, come on.
and like I do think you're right. Like we're easy because you and I
Mm-hmm.
like we appreciate it, but we don't love it. It's like it's easier for us to be like, yeah, I like this better because it is very different, right? It is.
Yes. Well, and as the
Um,
casual Evil Dead fan, we know that people show up, somebody reads from the book, and then they get possessed by deadites, and that's the plot, you know. But the lore goes much deeper than that. It's just over our heads, you know. Um,
the show had a lot of that because they'd be like, "Oh, now it's this demon." I'd be like, "I don't know what the fuck
oh,
that is."
really?
Like, yeah,
This one just came out. Was it this last weekend? It
yeah,
was this last week. There was a
yeah.
lot of people watching it like on Tuesday. I think Alamo Draft House had like an early showing of it. So I've seen it twice now. I saw it once a couple days
Twice. Ooh,
ago. Yeah. And then Alistair wanted to see it. And so I went and saw it again so Alistair could watch it.
what
And
do you think?
we know me. I love a movie the second time. I appreciate it very much the second time. I didn't feel that way with this one. I know. And
I
that's
thought you were gonna say
bad.
now it's your favorite
Because the
movie.
first, no, absolutely not. The first watch, it was really intense. And like, it felt so hopeless when I got up
Yeah,
to the elevator and like, I was like, oh shit, there's no way out of this. Like, you can't
yeah.
get out
I
of
would jump
it.
out the window. I know that's what I would do.
Okay, okay. She got them out of it. So you've prematurely killed yourself.
She didn't get them out of it. She got one person out of it.
She killed everybody. Everybody died.
Everyone else is dead.
It
And
was,
leave the building of people to like have the
yeah,
deadites in their building.
but it was really intense while I was
Yeah,
watching it the first time, and I really loved the aunt. And I even liked the mom. The mom was great, but like she turns into a deadite, so I don't see her all that much.
yeah.
But I really liked the aunt. She really reminded me of Juliette Lewis, and so I just kept seeing Juliette Lewis the entire time I was watching it. Um, and it was just intense. It was fun. It was great. It felt like something was missing, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. And then the second time I watched it, because I knew everything that was coming, it wasn't really a surprise to me. So I didn't have the moments of
Intense
intensity.
factor. Yeah,
Yeah. And
that
I
makes sense.
think it severely lacked when I didn't have that. Um, and I think it was story. I just think something was missing from the story that I needed, you know.
Oh my God, are we finally? Oh my God, I'm so happy that I am going to. I didn't love this movie, but I think I liked it more than you. I'm just thrilled because I really was like, Zach's gonna say this is his
I
new
still
favorite
loved it. I
movie.
still thought it was real well done, you know. It made a really good like straight to HBO or straight to Netflix movie, you know.
And that's what it was originally intended to be.
Was it?
Yeah. They
Well,
like
now it's made like $40 million. So fingers crossed we'll get another one.
I it felt too hopeless for me. That's just not my vibe with horror. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like a hopeless. Um I think it's shot really well, though. I do think
Yes.
like it was on par with the 2013 one in terms of the way it's shot, the look. Like I thought that was all like aces. Like even the hotel, not the hotel, apartment building. Like
I
it was
loved
kind.
when it was like at an angle. And I could
Yeah,
tell it was at an angle because camera couldn't like go back far enough to get the whole thing in it, right? So it was like, I thought
and
that was
that
so fun.
so like there's a lot of like horror references, not just to Evil Dead, right? There's like other horror references. I kept wondering if that was like a reference to Chucky, because it like the way the building was like so tall and the
Oh,
angle it was shot
maybe.
at.
Yeah, it
But I
looked like
could
because
be like
we've just
stretching.
recently watched that,
Yeah.
and the apartment building did remind me of that, and the apartment
Right.
building in Chucky is like featured on like the poster for it, and so this felt really like it. I liked. What do you think of the setting, the apartment building as a setting?
I like it. The weird thing is the setting almost turns it into more of like a zombie movie if the zombies are like
Yes,
able to talk. Um, but then I was like, because that was like, I don't know if that's a complaint or like what it is, but I was like, I guess that's kind of what the first Evil Dead is, right? They're in that cabin, they all keep getting.
but that's the thing is like this one, and I did really like the apartment setting, right? But I wish we could have explored more of the building rather than just the floor. And we didn't even really explore the floor all that much. We explored the apartment, and I feel like with even with the other Evil Dead movies, you're in the woods, you're running around, you're on the road, you're in the basement of the house. Like there's places to go, and I felt too stuck in this fucking apartment unit, and I was like dying to fucking get out of there. I think by the time she starts listening to the damn things, the aunt starts listening to the record, I was like very ready to get out of that apartment.
I wouldn't jump out the window, but I would have died because I would have at that point. I was like, scale the building. There's no hope. Just you might as well try to scale the building to get down. They're only on the fifth floor, right? Or was it higher?
14. I think they were at the top.
Oh yeah. So I would definitely die.
They were up
But
there.
I maybe then I climb up to the roof. There's got to be a fire
That's
exit.
more. That's what I wanted. Is like more running around and like if we like get a moment where we can scale the building a little bit. They kept talking about this fire escape in this locked apartment, but we never saw the fire
Yeah,
escape. Never saw the empty apartment. And I was like,
that was
well,
weird, right?
shit. Yeah, we're not seeing any of it.
Because it like there I do see what you're saying. I'm like, there was a lot of like, wow, this crazy thing happened. Now we're just sitting in a room, and it's like, wait a minute, we don't seem to like. Why are we sitting? Why are we like anytime it was like the aunt and one of the kids? I'm like, why are they not all in the same room, all absolutely next to each other? Like,
And
right?
like
It felt like
finding a way to get out of here, right? Is like there's got to be something. And I don't know what the something would have been, but I just like when we play with the space. And I feel like we had this wealth of like an apartment building and didn't play with the apartment building. Like the parking garage, when we went out to the parking garage, that was good. That was good stuff, you know? But like,
yeah.
we didn't do that stuff enough. So I don't know. I guess I'll give it like fine. I liked the setting, but I wish they would have used it more. The fucking cabin at the beginning looked so cool. Like it just looked trippy. And I almost wish we would have been there a little bit longer too.
So I was DMing with Adam Schron about this movie, and the thing
Mm-hmm.
I said, which I still stand by, is I love that opening, but I don't think it like makes sense for the movie. Like we didn't need it for the
Yeah.
movie. Um, but I like it. So like I'm not saying I didn't like I thought it was a really so well done, and it's like pretty intense and scary and gross when she fucking rips the girl's scalp off,
Yeah.
but I just don't think it like fit in the movie.
It was a weird sort of like, and they tell us that one day earlier or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Like they tell us that we're leading up to something like that, you know.
But
It
like
was like
that
weirdly
feel
placed
yes.
because it doesn't really paint the evil getting into somebody else and it's
No.
spreading on like the city. So they go back
Yeah.
to the cabin, and I'm like, oh, well,
Because that's what I was just about to say, Zach. I love when we're aligned because it would make more sense if it was like, look, now there are a shit ton of deadites in the city killing everyone. But like, no, it's just one girl killing two people.
it'd have been like very much like Army of Darkness, right? But like for the modern, you know,
Right.
that's what we could have led up to something like that, or the City of Darkness, or whatever the fuck that is. But it could have started at the cabin instead of it being like some little prequel aha moment.
Yeah.
it starts there and it spreads to the apartment building, and then we pick up there. It was just like a weird, like roundabout thing that like I don't think necessarily landed, but was still fun and was still
yeah, it was
fun. And I
cool.
did love the beginning. I loved the cabin. I loved the little gags we got. That fucking title card, man. Oh, I got such a boner for that title card.
Yeah,
Um,
that title card is fucking hot. Like,
yeah.
when then the music that plays and it reflects in the fucking water, like,
And she rises from the fucking water, and it's just like, and it's the music that really does it, right? Is
yes.
like it. That's what I love about like Insidious, and when we watch any The Conjuring, like when the music fucking like blares and makes you so unsettled. I love an entrance like that. I love an opening like that because it's gonna set
like
the tone for
in
the rest
the
of the movie. Yes,
yeah.
Gonna set the tone for the rest of the movie, and so they did that really, really well. And like the beginning gag with the what is that thing called? The drone. Like that was cool because like that's our Evil Dead gag, right? It's like but it's not the Evil Dead. It's a drone, and I don't know. It just that stuff was cool.
It was weird though that didn't kill the guy. Like I was like, that's what she's gonna use. She's gonna rip that guy's face off with that fucking drone, but then she didn't.
She just did it to herself, I guess, right? And it's just it's about mutilating yourself. It was probably a real boring weekend for that Deadite because there's only two people there.
2 people and they're dead. Also, I like couldn't decide if I thought it was too silly that the girl didn't die. Like she crawled, like that's a long way to crawl if your scalp's been like ripped.
I hope she's alive. I hope she's still alive. Out. Yeah, I hope she didn't die.
Or would that could you live through that?
It'd been cool to see like it towards the end of like that thing, right? Where like we have a Deadite who's already been ripping through everybody, and we see a bunch of bodies, just blood everywhere, and like I don't know, like tied in there somehow.
Like again, because I loved this and I wouldn't want to cut it out, but I think that's how it would have made more sense if it was like, ooh, look, it got out and now all these people are dead, but like no, just 2. And like sure, 2 people being murdered is bad, but that didn't feel like that everyone in that building is dead. Like that felt more intense than.
Yeah, it should have led into the apartment. When we do get to the apartment, so I guess the aunt Beth is our main character, I guess. I don't like a mommy plot. I don't like a mommy plot where she's got a baby in her tummy, and we knew at some point the Deadite would kind of sniff it out. I just don't like shit like that. I think it would have just been cool as the cool aunt who just kind of dips in and dips out of their lives, and then she just shows up, right, and just ends up in this situation with them.
Because I fucking hate. I actually like truly. I mean, I think I've said this before on the podcast. I fucking hate a pregnancy plot, and I really hate. Don't like. She should just be the cool aunt. Like you and I can be cool uncles to our nephews. Doesn't mean like we have to learn that we want to be parents. Like, no, fuck off. You can just be a cool
She doesn't want to, she doesn't need to want to be a mother. She can just be like these are my nieces and nephews, and I would like to like save them. This little blonde girl. That's I would like her to live, You know
what I mean? Like just because you and I aren't parents doesn't mean we wouldn't want to save our nephews. Like, I don't know. Like we truly did not need that at all. Unless, which I thought they were going to do, I thought they were going to make it something terribly gory and like
a baby, like an evil Deadite baby. That would have been cool though.
And like, I don't know that I would have liked that, but that would have been like, oh, okay, I get why they did that, right? But like, we didn't go anywhere either. Like,
but I also didn't think this was as brutal as it was kind of being hyped up to be. Like some crazy shit, some gnarly shit, right? Like you got kids being stabbed up here, and that's pretty bad. But I feel like 2013 was like start to finish, just and I terrible.
I know that 2013 is brutal as shit.
Yeah,
but I think for me this felt worse. I love the 2013 movie. I do have to look away sometimes because it's so fucking gory, right? Like I'm not gonna pretend it's not. And like all of the deaths are incredibly brutal in that movie. But there's something about like, it's just like these like college aged friends. That's fine. But when it's a fucking mother trying to murder her child who is like,
I guess the psychology of that plays into it and that can add to it. So I get that.
Like for me, it felt too bleak, too sad, too hopeless, too cruel. But I did have like 2 coworkers were like, oh, I think it should have been crueler. And I was like, I don't know how that movie could have been crueler. The kids get murdered. Like,
and it's like makes me terrible, but it makes me terrible. But I do like that they did get. Yeah, I was hoping the little one got it too. And then it was just all of them, and it was just this giant abomination crawling after Beth.
I mean, I thought at that point, but so I guess this is where it bothers me, right? Because if it's so hopeless that by the end I don't care, I really like by the end I was like, fucking let it eat them. I don't know. Like I don't
cared. I very much cared, but I was like, do it because I'm very stressed out. Like just do it because I'm very, very stressed out. And we're at the elevator and I don't know how we're getting down. You know?
Like if I were that little girl, I would not want to survive all that trauma. Like just like, please let it eat me. You can go if you want. Like, I don't know. It just felt so hopeless and it didn't feel gratifying enough at the end to merit. But like the 2013 one for me is like, it's a metaphor for addiction and she survives and she fucking gets her hand ripped off, but still like kills that fucking monster, right? And like it's gratifying. I did not find this one gratifying because it felt like it was like kind of the same.
Well, this one was what was the message, right? Unexpected responsibility kind of thrust upon you and how you're going to handle it. I don't think she handled it all that well. I mean, like she kind of took charge, but like
most of them died.
There were plenty of opportunities while some of these kids were being attacked for her to jump in and try to save them, and she kind of like didn't.
And she puts those headphones on. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you are in imminent danger. There are monsters in the hallway trying to get in to kill you, and you're gonna be like, kids, play in the living room. Mommy's
I think at one point even Danny was I don't even remember, he was either being attacked or something like that, and she like didn't come to his rescue, didn't come to save him.
She goes to find something and it's like, no, don't wait, you have to just pull her off him.
There's plenty of things here to be using, right?
And they were in the kitchen, so there's plenty of shit.
Plenty of shit. I thought the cheese grater was going to be a lot worse. It was just like one scrape. But I thought it was going to be because like Evil Dead, they go I thought it was gonna be like that. The tattoo gun, little Nick, I didn't think that was like, and I guess maybe we just can't with kids. There's a limit. But fucking Danny was getting his whole shit stabbed up in the kitchen. Like that was crazy to me. I thought that was one of the wildest ones.
Right here stabbed. I was like,
yeah. I'm like, I don't even know what that feels like. I've never had an injury like that. What's up?
I would hope you haven't been stabbed with a butcher knife in your
arm. Not in those spots. That was the craziest one. I think when she was out in the hallway and we kind of saw through the people and her attacking people, I thought that was cool.
I thought I thought when they're looking through people, I thought that was shot really cool. I liked the way that like it was just the people. But a big but here, which is my but for the whole movie, the tone was unbalanced because sometimes like her biting his face was brutal, right? She eats his eye. That's gross. That's brutal. You knew that guy was going to die. But that's like intense, gross, brutal. Her spitting out the eye and the kid choking out.
That was like a callback to Evil Dead, though.
Yes,
yeah.
I know it's a callback, but it didn't fit. It did not fit with the like intense, serious tone because that's stupid. Like someone throwing an eyeball into someone's mouth and them dying by choke is stupid, right? And it's a callback to the movies that were campier. And this one kept having moments of like weird, stupid camp that didn't fit for me in the movie. That's like my big butt about the movie. And like my friends that I saw it with, they do not like the 2013 one, which I don't. They were like, well, it's better than that.
Again, I don't understand.
But like the one friend even said that the tone, they like loved it, but the tone bothered the one friend. And he was like, yeah, it had like a little bit up and down with the tone. And it didn't bother me that much, but like that's the one moment when it really fucking bothered me because I was like, that's just stupid. They did that in the other Evil Dead movie. Why are we doing this again?
Yeah.
Like if she's eating people, that is gross and brutal. She's spitting an eyeball out and the guy's choking on it. That's stupid. That's not brutal.
It's just, I feel like there were too many kids in it for them to go as brutal as they maybe wanted to. And they felt they had to tone it down because there were kids involved because it was a kid who choked on it, right? It like landed in the kid's mouth. So like it's like an easier way to die than what's usually in these fucking movies, you know?
I mean, to be fair, the other kid's arms are ripped off when he's thrown across the hallway.
Yeah, but still the way it's shot, it's like you could miss it easily, right?
I didn't know his arms were ripped off till they walked out in the hallway. And
I don't know. It's just like I didn't think it was, and it was good stuff. It was good stuff, but like the way it was being hyped up is like because I've been hearing people say this is the scariest movie. And I'm like, I don't buy that. I don't think so. I don't think it's the most brutal. I just don't think so.
I do think it was the cruelest. I think it was the cruelest. because I think it's like cruel having a mother be stalking and killing and eating her children.
Yes.
And like, I don't know. I mean, I say this all the time. I always feel like I get more anxious when it's kids because I feel more hopeless.
Well, isn't the language in the other ones pretty kind of disgusting as well? Like they say some pretty like terrible things, and I don't feel like even with these ones, like it was all that. Like this is really bad. So this is how desensitized my mind is. It's like I don't think it was that bad. It was she's like calls her a stinking groupie, you know. I'm like, okay.
I mean,
that really set her off, and
she's not like Reagan and Exorcism. She's like, your mom sucks cock.
I know,
hell.
but
they
fucking Jane Levy says to her brother, "You want me to suck your cock, pretty boy?" Like that's terrible. That's awful. They say some pretty shitty. I don't know. It wasn't as harsh as people were making it out. It was very cruel.
The cheese raider, the scalp, and her eating glass was the worst for me.
Oh my god, that was fucking wild. Maybe I'm like contradicting myself now because it was some crazy shit. When it went down, I was like,
oh, that like hurt when I saw the like when you see it. I was like, bleh, bleh, like, and like that. I also felt like it felt so cruel, and this is gonna now sound contradictory again. It felt so cruel for like her to get turned into this like crazy zombie deadite just because her mom cut her cheek. Like she didn't even get this like wild death scene and like
no, it should have been a wild death scene. It should have just been wild.
I don't know if she was gonna survive.
She should have got bit. I don't know why she couldn't have just got bit, right? Like a real deep bite would have been even like because I thought that little Nick was stupid. It was so dumb.
Right. That felt like okay, so that's what bothered me about the kids' deaths. The kids' deaths felt like pathetic. Yeah. And I don't mean that like I don't know how I mean that, but like horror movie wise, it's like you go out with a bang, right? If you're a
no. I think Danny's death was pretty.
No, it was so pathetic.
No,
when
I don't
just
agree.
like bleeds out and looks at his sister.
Yes, and it's fucking terrible. It's terrible. No, it's not pathetic. It's fucking terrible. He got like pinned to the fucking kitchen. I think Bridget's death was bad because you didn't even really see a death. You saw her get cut. You saw her go into the kitchen, and we caught up with her again in the kitchen, and that was supposed to be a big surprise that she was now a deadite. Whereas, like usually we see them die, you know, and that's the shock. And it's like, oh, they died, and then they're crazy.
Well, and that was another scene where I was like, why is no one come in that kitchen? They should not be apart.
This apartment shouldn't have been so big that nobody can ever like interact with each other like all the time.
You've lived in an apartment. I've lived in plenty of apartments.
Yes.
You usually can hear someone.
You're on top of each other, like, you know, and it's not like ghosts where they're just like making you hear whatever they want to hear. You know, like we're in a situation right now. Bridget's, I think, was dark when she starts talking like a child, like, you know, I want to kill the creepy crawlies that are in my stomach, you know, and I thought that was like wild. Her chewing the glass was wild, her jumping down, and then getting Stephanie. I fucking loved Stephanie too. I thought that was good shit. When she gets Stephanie through her head, I thought that was fun. And then when they tie her up and put her on the bed, that was freaky because then I was watching her, but I think we should have seen her more throughout the movie before she gets up.
Well, also, again, they're playing fast and loose. She should be dead. That's how they kill deadites. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't make sense that the sister then came back because that's literally how you kill a deadite is you like stab them in the face, cut off their head. It has to be their head. And like, that's what they did for her.
Mm.
But I guess the argument can be made it like went through here, so it's like not fully her head. But
I guess
I don't know. But I don't know. I guess I like it felt cruel in that way. I felt the son's death was so cruel because like if I'm gonna die in a horror movie, don't have me bleeding out because I got stabbed twice, where everyone else is getting eaten, and then me apologizing for dying. Like that's lame. And like. This like cute trans teen boy getting killed that way just like felt like give him a cool death. I don't know. Did you read about the cameo?
No.
So I do like this. I really like. So
we got Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, there's a Bruce Campbell cameo, and it's when he's listening to the vinyls. Bruce Campbell is the guy that shouts. It's the Book of the Dead for a reason. He is the voice of the person shouting, and I read it.
I thought that makes sense because I thought that voice stood out a little particular from everybody else's, and I was like, why? Is he like right up to the back?
So Lee Cronin said he left it so that you don't know, but that it could be Ash because Ash does time travel in the like franchise.
Oh, that's good.
And literally in every
Mm.
season of Evil Dead, it ends with him time traveling. Every single season, the
I
final
like
season
that
ends with him
though.
going in the future.
I feel like we keep going into these stories with like a new take on the original, right? And I'm like ready for some crossover. I'm ready for some crossover, for some cool shit, for Jane Levy, for all chainsaws unite. Everybody got a chainsaw now. Let's bring them all together.
I I mean, I thought this one was a departure. I thought this one was like a little bit different because it's in the city. It's not a every
I
other
like the
one of
big
them.
question mark at the end of this one.
I don't know. I
Oh
don't even
wait,
know
no,
what.
there wasn't a question mark. Never mind. I take it back. We end up back at the beginning. Never mind.
Yeah, I
We're
was gonna
back in
say
the
I don't know that
woods.
it's a question mark. Also, so that Deadite drove a fucking car to the woods. Like that didn't make sense because they turn very quickly.
I think they just kind of play a little looser
Yeah.
with like the rate of infection and all of that. Maybe like hey, that could just be down to people's bodies. Um, I think when they go out in the hallway, when she finally like all the teens are dead, she takes the little girl. They go in the hallway, and I was wondering like why are these people not? None of
Yeah.
these people are up already. Like they should all be up at the fucking doors trying to get in and stuff.
Yeah, that didn't make sense because then they do, but then they're not really doing anything
They don't
because they
really.
don't.
They never attack them either, do they?
No,
No,
because they don't meld with her, right? It's just her and the kids that meld together, right?
just her and the kids that meld together, and then they are just out there saying they're like at the elevator door, and they're just like chanting.
Yeah.
But they don't attack. There's no like madness. Like some of the craziest shit in the Evil Dead movies is when they're all like maniacally laughing together, like all of them, and they're all like screaming and being wild, not really like chanting in unison. Um,
I also think I have a problem with the Deadites as a villain just because they feel I don't like, and this is the thing my mom has. Like my mom
mm,
didn't like Glory on Buffy because she hated that Glory kept beating up Buffy.
uh,
And I've always felt like I'm not that person, but the Deadites make me feel that way. Like I'm like, I hate this because they just like you chop them up and they still come back. They're still laughing. I hate the laughing. It makes me crazy. And I don't mean hate them that I think it's badly written. It's that it just makes me feel nuts.
yeah.
Um, and like in the original movies and in the series, it doesn't drive me as nuts because they're so silly, right? It's like cartoony. So I'm not
Silly,
like,
silly, cartoony.
but you know what I mean? That's why it doesn't
Yeah,
bother me as much in those
mm,
ones. Because it's like, whatever. Like Ash versus the Evil Dead, every single new character will die, and they all do.
yeah.
Every time there's a new character, Samara Weaving is in 3 episodes. She screams a lot and then gets blown up and turned into a deadite. Like
Love it.
that's just always what happens. So, but also it like makes the stakes lower, right? Because I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't care about this person; they're gonna die in an episode, and then they do. And then we always move. Ash's dad gets his head exploded halfway through season 2. He's sad for half an episode, and we move on. So it doesn't matter. But like something like this, I'm like, no, fuck these people. Stop laughing. Stop screaming at me. And it like makes me nuts. But I also fucking love an elevator scene. I love
oh,
a
yes.
Shining reference, a like blood bursting out of. I thought that was so cool. Even
Mhm.
though, like, I could understand why someone would not like. I mean, there's been times when you haven't loved a like reference or homage. I could understand because it's barely an homage. It's just like a reshoot of that
But
scene.
and who is it an homage for? Right? Is like the people they're marketing this movie to, which is younger people, most likely, they're not getting that reference. The majority of them, they're just not. It's like a fresh thing, just an elevator full of blood for them. And
And but it still works, right? I
yeah,
think,
absolutely.
right?
And I loved that. I loved that. I just wish we would have gotten onto the fire escape or something like that, right? Because she's like really, she makes it a big point that we're getting into that apartment and you're going to stand here,
They
little
don't even
girl.
get
And
in there.
I thought all of them were going to stand up, start coming for them. They have to hurry up and get into the apartment. They're going to go into the fucking the on the stairwell and like all of these different things. I thought, right, and like none of that happens. None of that matters. And then they get to the elevator, and that's the cool stuff, right? It's like it starts filling with blood, and then I have to say, what did you think of the Abomination? Because Alistair wasn't super into it. Alistair was like into just the Deadites as themselves and stuff like that. But then when they crawl into the mom and they become the abomination, I thought that was fucking scary. I was like,
Oh, really?
this is some crazy shit. And she's crawling, and we're not really seeing what she's looking like, and she's gonna be above the elevator. I know she is. And when we see Beth sort of push the door open to the elevator, and one of the hands like grabs it and moves it, I was like, oh, I fucking can't. I don't even know if I want to see it. I can't see it. And I was scared I was gonna like crawl down in there with them. And I don't know. What did you think of the abomination?
It didn't really do it for me. I
Oh
felt
no.
sorry. Like it did it for me until we fully saw it. Like I was like,
Mm,
"Ooh," until we fully, and then once we fully saw it, I was like, this just looks like a Cronenberg mush. Like I've seen The Thing. That's what this looks like. And like it wasn't as intense for me because I thought it just looked stupid.
mm.
So I was like, all right, either everyone dies or you kill the thing, but like, let's wrap this up, is how I felt once we fully saw it.
Well, we should have had some like really big music with it too, right? Do you remember when and I hate to we should not be keep bringing it back to 2013, but we're fucking gonna. When that fucking abomination comes out of the ground, there's fucking like
Yeah.
you know, like
That
all this
creepy
big
church
music.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh goodness, this is wild. This is the devil. I should have felt like that with the
No, I agree.
abomination, but I was very scared with the abomination. I thought that was crazy. I think wish we would have gotten a little bit longer running through the apartment complex. They I don't know. It was the parking garage thing was fine. I thought it was good until it was like good when they got in the car and they're getting out, and then the car's like stuck, and we see the doors moving when they finally look back. Right, like I lost my shit. I was like, nope, can't. I'm stressed. I'm gonna have a heart attack. But
Blood
then
pressure.
I don't know. Like they make it back to like the wood chipper thing, the grinder. And I was like,
I was
okay,
like, oh, it's Chekhov's wood chipper, because like they clearly make sure you see it the first time they're in that garage.
yes, yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're gonna go back to that. And then we did.
Mm-hmm.
I will say because of how hopeless the movie felt, I really kept waiting for that girl and the aunt to fall in that wood chipper too. Like I was waiting for like
She got
an
close,
arm
man.
to grab them both and like pull them in with it.
She got close. The Beth, her foot was like right. I thought her foot touched it a couple times. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Michael Myers is gonna pop out of there. Sam back for Halloween.
I also like to go back to the hopelessness. I'm confused. They killed it. I'm confused as to like that should be the end. I don't understand because they put it in the fucking grinder. So I didn't quite understand why it wasn't dead.
So at the end of the other movies, it usually ends with the thing still like there and flying at you, right? And that's usually how those movies end. Is like Ash turns around and screams, and like Mia turns around and screams, and just really that gag. I don't really get it. I don't know how it works, but the thing is still like floating around disembodied somehow. You know, it's like it's still there.
Why wouldn't it just possess the ant then?
I don't have answers. I don't have answers.
I feel like this is the first time I feel like you and I both felt this way about a movie everyone loved, because I feel like everyone fucking
loved this one.
Movie. Yeah.
I would say I loved it. I don't think I thought it was like the best one. I think it would probably be third on my list. I think 2013 would be first. I think the first one would be second, and this one would probably be third.
Yeah, same.
Followed by Army of Darkness, and then the second one, and then I haven't seen the show. So
I would do then the show, then 2, then Army of Darkness.
It just
but also I don't care about those ones, so
yeah, I mean, like I liked the tone. It was serious enough for me. It was dark. I do think what you say about the mother aspect, like her trying to kill her children, is really dark and twisted, and I do love a dark and twisted. So that really worked for me. I don't think it was as harsh as I really was expecting. As far as all of it, I think the gags I don't think were as harsh. Final girl, loved the final girl. I didn't even mind the little girl. The little girl's fine to tag along. That's okay. But I loved Beth.
I was glad.
I thought Beth was like so engaging every time she was on screen, and like her face was really engaging to look at. Like I just couldn't stop staring at her.
She also was someone that reminded me. I was like, I'd be friends with these sisters.
Yes.
Like
I loved her. I loved when she kind of just had like just a flat face, like not really reacting to anything. Her like one of her teeth would like kind of show. It was like weird little things that I just couldn't take my eyes off of her. Ellie, the mother, I thought was really good, and I was like, I really wanted to see them like team up and do stuff, but I knew she was going to be the thing, and I was like,
I think also there's like, but I mean, I feel like the movie would have been impossible to market
yeah,
otherwise. But I wish I didn't like wasn't just waiting for the mom to become the Deadite,
mm-hmm.
right? Because like you said, like it would have been nice to see them have to fight together or like fight some Deadites together first, rather than it just being like the mom is the main Deadite. I mean, I knew the brother was gonna die because he was the one that got the book played, right? I knew that person has to die unless they're Ash.
Well, is this cheating? The He starts playing it, but he turns that shit off.
That's why
He tries to turn it off. Doesn't that feel like cheating?
Zach, that's why I said he
Yeah.
didn't deserve it because he didn't read from it. He did
Hmm.
not read from the book. He put it on a vinyl and tried to stop it, but it wouldn't stop.
Maybe he should take the vinyl off.
He tries, it won't let him. It sparks at him. So that's why I do feel like he didn't really read from it, but I knew that guy. I knew he was going to die because you die if you're the person that does that. Which is, side note, in Ash vs. Evil Dead in season 2, when they go back to the cabin, there is a funny joke about the time continuity of like that, because he said there's a moment when he's like, "Oh, the book, I read that in the basement. Wait, did I listen to the tapes up here? I think I did both." And because
I love that you have unintentionally turned into our fact checker
right
for this franchise. It's just not anything I ever would have expected.
But right, that's funny though, right?
It is good. It's good. I do like that all of these movies can like exist at the same time, right? They play very loosely with continuity, and it's because it doesn't matter if they're all in the same universe or not. Because we're not really like, Marvel leading up to something. We're not playing.
Although you and I did just say we want that. We want to cross.
I would love it. I would love it. But they can all exist separately, and they can kind of play a little bit with their own rules, right? The book in this one is very clearly different. And so, but even the voice says that it's like one of 3. I didn't like that. Don't tell me a specific number. Just like let it be like kind of out there that there are multiple copies.
That they're all connected because we've already learned that there's different universes. Like Ash in Army of Darkness travels to like wherever the fuck.
Yeah.
So like they all technically could be in that world, just a different universe in that world.
And I just love that. I love that. And I love that it's kind of, they can establish it without ever saying it. They don't have to like go into some convoluted, like,
this is why
explanation for it. We just kind of already know as viewers of this franchise. I did really like it, and I think this is like definitely a rewatch movie. I'm definitely going to rewatch this one. Something just felt missing from the story, I guess. I'm not really exactly sure what it was. The story felt like something was missing.
I can say I think I like this more than you, even though you keep saying you love it, but I feel like you say that for everything. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I will rewatch this. Like
really?
The cruelty was too much for me. I have been very depressed the last few weeks. I felt more depressed leaving that movie.
Like, oh my gosh. Wow.
Bad. And like my friends were talking about it, and I just like wanted to go to my car. I was like, I don't even want to talk about this movie. I just want to go home.
Yeah.
Like I felt terrible. And I think it was because of the hopelessness. Like for me, it was like, well, shit, everyone's depressed. The family's going through hardships. The mom's going to kill them all. And like, I don't know.
And she does.
So I don't know. I feel like it's like, I wanted the person through this family going through a hardship. Like, sure, the mom has to die. We know the mom's going to die, but like then everyone else, the family.
But Mia made it. At the end of 2013, she made it. She was a damn deadite.
That is true. I forget how that even happened.
How come we can't save the mom?
You're right. I forgot about that.
Why can't the wood chipper like lift the curse? And
because they kill,
she comes back out or something.
It's that they kill Mia, but then I forget how she comes back to life.
Again, I don't know the rules. I just love them. I just love that.
I know you and I are saying how much we love 2013, and we're like, I don't know, how did that happen?
I've always wondered that. I'm like, how the fuck did she end up the final girl? She was
She was a deadite who was dead. But then
Terrible.
she makes it work though, because
Oh,
she.
absolutely. Oh, the last like 15 minutes of that movie are just
I really
excellent.
think that that's
They're some of the best. That is like one of the best endings of a horror movie, period, I think.
yes. I was gonna say I think that's like for you and I, an ending can like make or break a movie. And if that ending was crappy, I probably wouldn't love that movie as much. And I think you
Hmm.
would probably feel the same. But that ending, like the movie is good, but like that
Yeah.
ending makes it for me like
I love a plan, like an evil plan coming to fruition, and we have to now we're fucked because the evil plan came to fruition and we've been trying to stop it the entire movie. I love when that happens. So when the abominations come up, love when that happens because it's like we didn't stop the abomination. That's darker, and I like that it came, and
well, and I do the thing I do like, which is an Evil Dead staple, is like fighting for your life, right? Like
hmm
you're using a chainsaw to cut people up and you're covered in blood. And like I think Jane Levy sold that so well because it
Well,
was
could
like,
you imagine Jane Levy and Beth from this one? And like the same shit. Wonderful. My head would explode.
see, but then like for me, Jane Levy would make more sense in another one, but Beth would not.
I don't know. No, see, I disagree. I disagree here. I think we need Beth back because some shit went down in this apartment building. Okay, people are going to come. They're going to find all of these bodies. They're going to find all these things. Those deadites are obviously going to get out because the ones left on the apartment floor like are still alive. They're still there. The Beth and the little girl get out, and where are they going to go? Because they obviously have to go into hiding now. Because Beth, you literally killed everybody. As a police officer, I would say you killed everybody, and that is the story we're sticking to, right? So you need to take that little girl and go into hiding, and like figure out how to keep this from happening ever again.
But you're right. Like right at the top, the police would be like, no, you killed these people. But I feel like once there's the case of that woman ripping off her cousin's scalp and
Mhm.
flying out of the water, they'd be like, oh shit.
Oh what? Oh shit! What is our realization?
That
What
was
is our realization?
everything she said that they can do once they're
Yeah.
dead is true because that woman was flying across a lake after ripping someone's scalp off.
I don't know. You're giving the police too much. Police in horror movies don't have that much.
Well, right. But I mean, like, but the implication there was
Yeah.
there would be a lot more
Well,
than
and they
that.
have a dad, and the dad left them on, but the dad didn't necessarily leave the kids, right? I
I
mean,
really thought the dad was gonna like come and he would get eaten
it'd have been
and
Bruce
like
Campbell. But like the dad's got to wonder where the fuck are my kids? Where the hell are my kids? And it's because they're dead, and one of them is in hiding with Aunt Beth because he got to come back for him, right? Like this story is unfinished. Um,
I guess like for me it does feel unfinished, but I don't see how a sequel would work for it.
mhm.
Because the Deadites got out, so it's got to be like a plague zombie movie. You know what I mean? Like
I hope I would like it. I'd
I
like
don't think
it.
I would like that. I don't think it would fit with Evil Dead.
There were clearly plans for something after the 2013 one, right? That just got stalled somewhere in the middle, right? And so we've restarted now. Let's not restart
Yeah, I
again.
don't want to
Let's
restart again.
go somewhere with this. Whether we continue with this story, whether we cross over, whether we use elements. I don't know. Just like it's now time to continue, and I hope that they do that. Let us know how you liked Evil Dead Rise. And before we go, we are in partnership with WordPress.com. Ian, what articles do we have over on WordPress.com that you can share with the audience?
You can read my Ghostface ranking. You can read my spoilery Scream 6 review. I just put out an article that celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Buffy episode I Only Have Eyes for You, talking about the trauma and grief and forgiveness themes of the episode. And next month I have an article coming out on the 25th anniversary of Buffy's Becoming.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys. We will see you next time.